Okay, so before we get into the nature conversation, which is absolutely the next video, it's ready to go. I'm getting it sent over to you guys. I feel compelled to have this conversation about writing versus freestyling videos. And it's interesting because I'm an artist as well, and and especially in the rap genre, right? There is this air or this pressure around the concept behind freestyling and this concept behind writing, right? And it's really interesting, right? Like, there are so many reasons that we have to feel like we should conform, and at the same time to feel like we should just, do our own thing. And for me, I've had more than enough of these uh head bumps, you know what I mean, with these contradictions, that I do what I want, Like I don't care about what people have to say about how I do my work. You know what I mean? If you leave it up to people, people you'll think that they're leading you in a direction and also hoping that you don't crash, but they are just leading you to crash. You'll crash anyway when you're dealing with so much contradictory information. And you know, considering I'm now at this point where I can do video essays and things of this nature with my YouTube channel, you know, I have, you know, it's like I think about the same thing too, right? About like how I have this mixture of videos that are freestyled and videos that are written. So I just want to talk about, first of all, why really in both music and in this form, in this educational form, why I prefer to write my thoughts as opposed to freestyle them. Because first and foremost, it's not about an incapacity to be able to freestyle. Absolutely not. If anything, though, I would say that the ability to freestyle, especially to put together something that's enjoyable, right? To put together something that's meaningful. Um, you can do it freestyled, but and I mean in terms of music, but I say a lot of times that takes a certain type of mode, right? That takes a certain type of inspirational mode that can't always be mechanized, Like I'm not, especially for me, I'm not one of those people who are like, oh yeah, just make sure you got Skittles and Doritos in my writer and I'll be good. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not like that. I'm the type of person. It's more so about like spirit. It's about like a vibe, and you can't always really control that, but you can have control over yourself. So I have control over myself, but just because I have control over myself and I'm comfortable in my own skin, right? And you have like, these outward, like you have to realize and understand like the pressure of wanting to freestyle, or the entire idea of thinking somebody needs to freestyle really comes from some sort of an outward pressure. So just the simple fact of, trying to do away with that uh uh like feeling, or like trying to say that like, oh well, thinking too much about other people. Well, it's like no, it's like the whole idea of even thinking that one has to freestyle really mostly comes from other people. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, right? Like that goes into the entire idea and mindset of the purpose of why we share our work, right? Like we share our work because we want to share things with other people. And if we're going to have something to share with other people, we have to have something to share. Now, of course, like a lot of people, or yeah, there's more than enough people who have this idea that it's okay, you can just bring people anything, fuck it, right? They're gonna entertain it, right? Especially because we have set as a precedent in our society that it's rude to treat people as if like things that they bring to you are insignificant. People bring things to you because they want to, but it's also very apparent that a lot of people just want to waste your time, right? A lot of people just want to, and not even and waste time in the sense of they're just trying to fill a void. They're just trying to fill a void of validation. They're just trying to prevent from feeling alone in darkness. They're just trying to prevent the feeling of silence. You know what I'm saying? They can't live with their own selves. You know what I mean? And being in their own heads. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, people are going to be the way that they're going to be, and my objective is never to try to um remove people from being themselves, unless of course they decide to impede upon other people's peace substantially, to the point of causing harm to others and things of that nature. you know um but I do and can say that we can be much more useful and meaningful with our time, and the things that we decide to want to share with others. You know what I mean? And it's interesting how we are how with this precedent we kind of force ourselves into a sort of a corner that says that, oh well, we have to try to make this meaningful, we have to try to make this mean something. You know what I'm saying? And look, as beautiful as it may seem to develop the patience and the tolerance and the grace in order to let insignificant things feel significant, irrelevant things feel irrelevant, um I highly disagree with this. Like, I would much rather take the time out to deal with, obviously prefer to deal with something that is actually meaningful than to deal with something that is irrelevant. And, you know, when you're going straight off the top, you can always say great things just straight off the top, but, you know, uh, there are certain things that we can say and that we can deal with that are so much deeper than, meaning that we can go even deeper into them. And it's like that thing that they say, when you get into an argument or something or a debate, and then you finish the debate, and no matter if you feel like you won the debate or not, you come out of it and you realize, oh, I could have said that too, which was like, like genius or whatever. And so it's kind of like that, when writing, you get away from that. Like, when writing, of course you can still miss certain things, but in general you can flesh out your thoughts much better. And something that is very much slept on in our society is really how much we are in hell right now. Like, we are suffering right now, and people, they act like they don't know why we are in the place that we are, because they're so busy trying to accept it for what it is. But we can see that the more that we try to accept our predicament for what it is, the further and further that we dig ourselves into hell, which means, which has meant for us, it means reduced fertility rates. It means reduced literacy rates. It means reduced trust in people and in government. It means, the idea that we're all just, slaves and wish to be subjugated and oppressed. You know what I'm saying? Even more so than, we try to act like, we've already overcome or dealt with throughout history, right? And there's always that level. There's always this level where, like, people are cool enough to conform, where, people smile in their face, and that the whole vibe, everything stays so cool and calm, and, everybody's smiling and it's chill or whatever, versus, again, the idea of like, oh, hey, hold on, I am here, I am alive, I am my own person, I can make my own decisions, and I do have my own, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, look, I hear it. Like, I'm with people in the whole idea of, hey, you're your own person, and at the same time you feel like you got to conform in all these different ways so that you can have friends or whatever the case may be, and whatever. Like, I don't know, you have these little things that are in you, but it has already been done numerous times, where we had to create the means, we had to create the environment, we had to show, what I mean, like these differences. There's and it's clear why there are these different ranks. Like, we talk about hierarchies and all these types of things. The hierarchies are intrinsic. You know what I mean? And there are certain people like myself who have dealt with enough BS, who have dealt with enough pretending and fakeness, or just insignificance and irrelevance. Things that waste our time. And it's like, hey, yo, I have things to do, like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, there are things that are way more important than this emotional stuff that you're talking about, for example, or just this very, very small thing that you're bringing up that you can control. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't care. You can call me heartless. You can call me, you know, um, apathetic or whatever. And look, let me just say, it's really funny how people have, for so long, I've always thought it was so funny how people would say that you don't care about people, or you don't care about what somebody's going through, or whatever, or you're apathetic and stuff like this. But yet so many of these same people had to learn what empathy is. You know? Like, you don't know empathy if you had to learn it. You don't. You don't. You don't know what empathy is if you had to learn it. And if you have to ask really truly as well what empathy is too, like, that's a problem. Like, that's a serious, serious problem. Especially at this point, I think you're really fucked. Like, I think you're cooked if you think so much into what empathy is, or you have to think so deeply into what empathy is, and you don't know what it is because you don't. If you don't know what empathy is, bro, yeah, bro, like you know, and more than anything, that's just the proof. I think that's just the proof in the pudding that the world is messed up. Like there's something very, very dangerous going on right now, or and that has been going on for at least the past 80 years. And but hey, honestly, honestly, 2024 years, honestly. And yeah, we got to get this together, guys. We got to get this together, and the point is going to constantly come around, and it's going to constantly come around, and I'm going to be saying it all throughout this channel and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, you know when you're able to write down your thoughts, when you write down your thoughts, not only do you leave a piece of history for people to find, right, have things for people to look back at and to appreciate that you did engineer that thought, but also, like I said, you get to flesh out your thoughts better. You know what I mean? You can flesh out your thoughts better. You can see when you make these certain connections, and go ahead and you make the connection and stuff like this, and you flesh it out as best as you can, and then it gets you into other points, and it helps you reach your conclusion a lot better. You know what I mean? And again, it's not about an inability to freestyle. It's not about an inability to just do it freely. Um, but it feels better. It is better, and it's more thorough. You know what I mean? Like, imagine how many answers that people have been searching for when they're looking for one particular thing, and then somebody goes and they put that one particular thing together, and they go and they're like, oh man, well, I thought that what I was looking for would be in this thing because it makes sense that this thing was, like it's apparently a part of this topic, but the thing isn't in there. The thing is in somewhere else. A great example that I would put of that, for example, is the history of the printing press, where for China, and China, when they invented the printing press, there was a book on agriculture that was discussing the advance of the printing press. You know what I'm saying? And you would expect that to be in books about printing. You know what I'm saying? Books about publications and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, freestyling is cool and all of this type of stuff. But I very much do prefer to write so that you can get my thoughts in a very fluid way, and in a very thorough way, because I do have a lot to say. I have seen a lot, and the reality is that you should also have seen a lot. But the things that we do with our time are varied. Like we all do different things with our time, and that's why I said, look, I'm perfectly fine with it. And that's why I say those with ears. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody who is listening, or not everybody who hears is listening. You know, and that's okay. Not everybody who's watching is seeing. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody who's thinking is learning. You know what I'm saying? So or interpreting. So yeah, that's really the gist of what's going on. There is and will be this mix of scripts, and this mix of me being able to just of me just just going off the cuff like this one. But you know, at the end of the day, this isn't about you. you know so I don't care about what you or anybody thinks about how I disseminate my information, whether it's writing or uh freestyling it. But at the end of the day, I do care way more about the points that I bring up, your perspectives on the things that I bring up, so that we can get, so that we can make certain progress. You know what I mean? I'd like to think that, that the things that I say, the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm talking about are not necessarily my opinions. They're not. I don't really have opinions on the things that are going on, but I do see how people have been doing. I do see what has happened over the course of history. I do see, the decisions that have been made over time. And so, when you see these things, certain questions are just bound to come about. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not afraid to ask those questions. and and to help each other see, because yeah, man, people got this thing really messed up. People really think that this, that they can have their cake and eat it too. You know what I'm saying? And there are so many things here in this experience that we have, advice that people try to give, suggestions and things of that nature, that constantly contradict themselves. And at the end of the day, you will always do a better job when you are informed. Okay, let me put that first, man. Informed. Educated is such an overrated word in this time, but yeah, when you know you have done the work, you know, you go out, you do what you do, you get challenged by the world, and that is what I'm doing. I am inviting you to challenge me. You know what I mean? To, put your logic out there. You know what I'm saying? Put your reasoning out there. Show me why you've been doing what you have been doing, and and always being prepared to, have a shift in beliefs, or, like I said, just simply to learn from the world. You know what I mean? Anytime you want to improve in something, they give you a coach, and that coach is there to hold you accountable and to tell you like it is, and all those different types of things. And the coach is also working with your personality. They're working with your character, the things that you show them. You know, so yeah, man, love each other, love each other, because I do love you. I do love you, and whether it's writing or if it's freestyling, I will be telling you genuinely and authentically and as thoroughly as possible what I think about the things that are being discussed. So, yeah, anyway, you have that. Enjoy the Nietzsche videos and the other videos that will be coming. Um, Eat chicken nuggets, dip them in honey mustard. It is just like that.